Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I wanted to talk about a unique item that's been in the game for a very long time, Aegis Aurora, and one that's been up and down in its popularity over the game's history. So Aegis Aurora was originally in what you might term the mythical tier of uniques back in the sort of 1.0 era of the game. It was considered one of the best items in the game. It was certainly one of the rarest, alongside things like Chevron's Wrappings, Mjolnir. It was in huge demand for a long period of time. Then it started to fall off in popularity. However, it has certainly found itself a narrow niche where it excels. So this is a series where I'm looking at popular, powerful endgame unique items, and Aegis Aurora is definitely something that you can build around and have an effective character today. This is also, as much as anything else, it's going to be a discussion of the unique item Memory Vault, because these two items are best friends forever. And so just a quick recap on Memory Vault, if you're not familiar with that item, here it is. It is a unique helmet that has the pretty ridiculous stat, gain armor equal to your reserved mana, as well as a lot of other things on it. So, what does Aegis Aurora do? The first thing it does is it just provides you with solid all-around basic defenses. So there's a fair amount of armor, a fair amount of energy shield, 5% maximum cold resistance, which is a powerful defensive layer and something that's very hard to get anywhere else. 6% chance to block on top of a baseline 26. So this is a very powerful shield when it comes to attack block chance. And then it's got its unique ability. Replenishes energy shield by 2% of your armor when you block. So this is the reason that you use it. This line is the reason that the shield is good. The replenishing energy shield by 2% of your armor is an absolutely massive amount of survivability. However, it imposes a really difficult restriction on your build. This is only useful if you can get at least 25,000 armor onto your character, but ideally you're going to want a lot more than 25,000. And most of the builds that I've looked up on that have been playing Aegis Aurora in the 3.15 league generally have anywhere from 50 to 75,000 armor. So once you've got 50, let's say that you've got 60,000 armor. What does 60,000 armor do for you? Firstly, if you take a hit for 1/10 of your armor, it'll knock it down by 50%. So a physical hit that would otherwise deal 6,000 damage is going to deal 3,000 instead because of this amount of armor. And armor is more effective against hits that are smaller than 1/10 of your armor. So if instead of that hit dealing 6,000 base damage, it was going to only deal 3,000 base physical damage, which might be a critical strike from a porcupine in a tier 16 map or something like that, then you're only going to take 1/3 of that damage. So instead of taking 3,000 base physical damage, the 60,000 armor will reduce that to 1,000. That's on the hits that actually get through. Aegis Aurora, of course, is something you're playing alongside block, and so you may actually not get hit at all. And what this means in practice is that you're taking little hits from Aegis Aurora's replenish energy shield is actually regenerating your energy shield faster than you're losing it. Or I should use the term replenishes. It's different to energy shield regeneration or recharge. It's a different mechanic. It is instant healing. So this is something that really rewards unusual stacking of defenses. You want simultaneously to have very high armor and very high energy shield on the same character at the same time. This can be difficult to do, and the thing that made everything come together was the introduction of the Memory Vault unique. So this from memory was added in 3.1, the Abyss League, as one of the items that was tied to the 4 Elder Guardians, which were added at that point. But now it's a drop anywhere unique. So what Memory Vault does is it provides a lot of maximum energy shield and mana, a lot for a helmet slot. Then it provides you with 10% increased mana reserved. Normally this would be a drawback, but then you have gain armor equal to your reserved mana. It is entirely possible to get 5,000 base armor out of this item, and potentially even more than that. And then this can be scaled up by all sorts of other means. And as a result, Memory Vault is just simply best in slot on any build that is playing Aegis Aurora, that is using Aegis Aurora as a defensive layer. Additionally, Aegis Aurora works really well with Rainbow Stride because it is very difficult to get a meaningful amount of spellblock, and spellblock also works with Aegis Aurora. So this combination, Aegis Aurora, Rainbow Stride giving you 6% spell block, and a bunch of spell block on the tree, can get you in a situation where with Glancing Blows, you're either at 75% block chance for both attacks and spells, or with slightly worse gear, you're very close to it. You know, you're looking at maybe 75% for attacks and 65% for spells or something like that. In conjunction with having 50,000 or more armor, this is going to cause you to get tremendous energy shield recovery, and essentially make you, whilst not completely invincible, you are able to treat weaker enemies as essentially a healing battery for you. That basically every time they hit you, you're gaining energy shield from faster than they're damaging you. So, what else can you say about Aegis Aurora? The first thing I want to say is that this is an item that corrupts extremely well. There's just a lot of synergy between what Aegis Aurora builds do and the pool of Vaal implicit mods on shields. So some of the premium corruptions you could get are spell block percent, maximum chance to block attacks, reduced critical strike damage taken, maximum energy shield, and especially percentage of physical damage suffered as chaos damage or cold damage. There's also some niche useful things that, like for instance, plus to the level of socketed gems is something that can be really good on a lot of other shields. On Aegis Aurora, it's a little bit less powerful, but it can still certainly find a use. Next, in terms of a chess piece, the best chess piece by far for Aegis Aurora builds tends to be Skin of the Loyal. Now, Skin of the Loyal is an item that drops from Chayula content, and it's something that also is widely available through 2 divination cards. There's the relatively common divination card, The Chosen. A set of 5 of these turns in not for Skin of the Loyal, but for a Skin of the Lords, which is the Chayula enriched version of the item. And Skin of the Lords has a random keystone on it, which can be a benefit or a detriment. However, Skin of the Lords is always corrupted, and that does tend to be a bit of a drawback. The other divination card is actually one I commissioned, and that is the Price of Loyalty. That is a very rare drop, not something you're ever going to self-compile a set of, but it's widely available in trade leagues, and it will give you a 2 implicit corrupted Skin of the Loyal. The Skin of the Loyal is really good for this item because it has the text plus 100% global defenses, and that is essentially like having 100% increased armor and 100% increased energy shield, although it's like it was found on the passive tree. So it's not like it doubles all your armor sources and doubles all your energy shield, but it's like having plus 100% armor and plus 100% energy shield from the tree. You can also get that mod on different items as well. It can be found on the Grasping Mail, which is a crafting base that was added in 3.14, although Grasping Mails are pretty difficult to craft. And as a result, you find that there's not very many of them on the market, but it is something that you could keep in mind if you're the sort of person that's willing to go a little bit crazy in creating a really powerful item, ultimately. So, in terms of sources of block that you're going to want to use in order to get Aegis Aurora up to maximum, you're going to want Rainbow Stride providing 6% spell block, Mystic Bulwark and the Sanctuary Cluster on the tree providing 6 and 8% respectively, maybe Arcane Guarding providing 6%, Bastion of Hope from the Guardian Ascendancy providing 10%, and Glancing Blows doubling it all. For attack block, the shield itself plus the Bastion node from the Guardian Ascendancy is enough with Glancing Blows, and Rumi's Concoction can round it out as well, because Bastion of Hope does not have 100% uptime, so Bastion of Hope can be something that's there most of the time. Rumi's Concoction is there for when you need an extra little boost. However, Rumi's Concoction is not widely used on Aegis Aurora builds. It's more what you would term a niche consideration. Okay, so that's really all there is to say on Aegis Aurora, except for how do you get this item. And unfortunately here, there's no really good answer. This is a tier 2 rarity unique, according to a bunch of work that was done in cataloguing unique tiers during patch 3.14 by streamer Poor Fishwife. And so her findings were that this is the same rarity tier as Chevron's Wrappings. However, with Chevron's Wrappings, there's a number of ways you can target farm it, such as hunting down the divination card, The Offering. For Aegis Aurora, there aren't. And so your best ways to find this item are unfortunately going to be sources of just bulk amounts of unique items. At a high investment level, this is Gilded Reliquary Scarabs or Winged Reliquary Scarabs. And at a low investment level, this is running heists that drop uniques and also heists that drop armor rewards. Both of those can drop Aegis Aurora, but it's not going to be common. Additionally, you kind of need Memory Vault for the item to be good, and you also kind of need Rainbow Stride, and neither of those are particularly common either, although they are more common than Aegis Aurora. So the best way is going to be through trade. If you're playing in solo self-found, this is going to be one of those things that maybe if you get lucky and get an Aegis Aurora, you might then decide to make a build around it, but until then you don't expect to get it. But if you're in a trade league, you can pick up all of these pieces pretty cheaply. At the time that I'm recording this video, none of Aegis Aurora, Memory Vault, or Rainbow Stride cost more than about 30 Chaos, and that's to get a clean, uncorrupted version. You'll also want a Skin of the Loyal that fits whatever sockets you're using, and you will have a lot of trouble making all the pieces come together on a build like this, whilst also meeting your resistances. So that's something to keep in mind, especially given that a lot of people like to use the unique amulet Astramentus, and also the unique gloves, the Shaper's Touch, on a build like this, and then that can create a lot of tension on getting your resist. Lastly, what sort of skills do you want to use? Well, the first thing you're doing here is, because you're using Aegis Aurora, you are getting no damage from your shield at all. One of the popular things is to use one of the minion type skills that can scale a bit with the Guardian Ascendancy, but that also doesn't require much investment from the passive tree or from gear in order to perform well. So Herald of Purity and Herald of Agony are semi-frequently used in conjunction with Aegis Aurora. They're not the only choices though, and if you have a look on the website poe.ninja, you'll be able to get a sense as to what other people are playing with in conjunction with this item. There's quite a diverse range of skills, but basically I would not try and use self-cast spells. It's generally not that effective in conjunction with Aegis Aurora. And even though there is this increased damage with attacks, increased elemental damage with attack skills, I also wouldn't try and use that either. It's too difficult to get a decent amount of attack damage in conjunction with Aegis Aurora's, with all the things that Aegis Aurora needs in order to scale. All right, that's all I got on this one. If you've got any comments or questions, definitely fire away below. Otherwise, may your Varlobs have interesting results, and I will see you around.